Hello, and welcome back to another inspiring episode of the Smartest Studio series. I'm your host, Debra Amerson, here to ignite your creative spark and guide you through the ever-evolving journey of being a working artist. Today, we're diving into how moving to a new area can inspire an artist's creativity, whether it's a shift in the scenery, culture, or community. Our guest is someone who embodies this idea beautifully, the incredibly talented Jody Calcara. Jody is a Southern California singer, songwriter, musician, and friend who created the theme song for our YouTube channel. His music captures the essence of transformation, connection, and joy. Jody, welcome to the Smartest Studio series.
Thank you very much for having me here. I'm honored to be included.
Yay! Jody, let's start with your journey. You're based in Encinitas, California now, but can you tell us about your various moves and your most recent move and how that move in particular has shaped your music? Like, give me an idea of your musical evolution. We can't go on for, 20 hours, but like how these different places that you've lived have evolved your creativity and influenced your songwriting, your music, etc.
Well, I actually grew up down here in San Diego County. I'm in Encinitas now, and I grew up in Carlsbad. And probably the first song I ever learned was Davy, Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier. And I was thinking of some of my earliest favorite songs. Another one was Ghost Riders in the Sky, So I loved music from a little kid on, and of course, the biggest one that changed my life was seeing the Beatles on Ed Sullivan 50 years ago, almost exactly. And so that prompted me to, next thing I knew, I was in rock and roll bands and stuff. Well, and then in the early 70s, actually in 1971, I moved to Northern California, to the San Francisco Bay Area, and lived there in various places for 50 years, and met lots of musicians, and met one of my best friends owned a recording studio with some partners in San Francisco. And I did a bunch of, I was a carpenter too, so I did carpentry for trade time so I could record. That's how I was able to record so many of my songs over the years. I would work it off with carpentry. Well, then the pandemic hit in that horrible year of 2020. And I have my son and my grandkids live down here now in San Diego County. And so I didn't see them for a year and a half because of the pandemic. And finally, with the vaccine, I felt safe to come down and see them. And I realized I've got to move down here. I can't miss anymore because they changed so fast in that year and a half. So I packed up all my stuff, got rid of a bunch of stuff, and moved back down here and found a great place to live in Encinitas, and a 10-minute drive from my son's house. And I'm so glad I did that because my grandkids are now all teenagers. They're not little kids anymore. And I would have missed that last stage if I hadn't moved down here. I'd seen them on visits, but it's different when you could see them all the time. And up there, I had, I started doing music videos. I had two different friends that left me money when they passed away. And I went, oh my God. So I didn't need anything. I live frugally. I thought, but I've always wanted to make music videos. So I started doing that. It was like 10, 15 years ago. And so I had different people that I did videos with in San Francisco area. And then when I moved down here, I asked a friend who I knew did some video work. And he said, oh, let me take you to the studio in Oceanside nearby. And so I met them and went, oh my God. And they have a big green screen room and a recording studio, and the people are great. And so that's my new play place and workplace. And so I continue writing new songs. And I mean, I'm never sure. I mean, I always feel like songs that come to me are gifts from elsewhere. And people sometimes say, God, that's a great song that you wrote. And I said, I'm not that good of a songwriter. It was a given to me. I did some of the work, but it's like, I'm not that good. So it's like, I have to acknowledge the spirit world where this creativity comes from. you know, but it's my favorite thing to do. I mean, I get in the zone and all I can think about is the song that's coming, you know, and each song is so different. I mean, I don't try to write in every one style. They just come in all different styles, you know, and it's yeah, it's pretty wonderful. I mean, I'm so grateful that I get to do it, and still at the ripe old age of 75 years old, I'm still able to do it.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. Jody, you talk about a couple things that I really could resonate with. How I know when I get an image, a visual image, it's like it's a gift to me. It's not me making it. It's like we're the vessel, we're the delivery service, we're the Amazon, you know, delivery that makes sure that this thing gets birthed into the world. And do you have a specific song or set of songs or videos that you made after you made the move back to Encinitas from Marin County? You were in Sausalito, is that correct?
I lived in Sausalito for almost like 28 years, the longest I lived anywhere in my life. At one house, 25 years, and then
Wow.
you know, and I thought I was going to live the rest of my life there, and yet then changes came along, and then poof, you know, I had moved. Things changed, you know, so.
And the weather's better in the south.
Oh my God, the weather. I mean, it's foggy and overcast today, but it's usually we get rain by November here down in Southern California, and there's no rain in the forecast, and here we're into December already, and the
Mm.
weather's been like in the low 70s. So like, God, no wonder where everybody wants to live here, you know. But I I'm praying for rain that we get some rain, you know. But I do love it. I mean, my favorite thing one of my favorite things about living down here is being near the ocean. I mean, I grew up near the ocean. My earliest memories are going to the beach with my family, and we always had beach parties, you know. And I'd take the old coast highway as much as possible, and which goes right along, and I could see the ocean waves breaking. You know, I just go, oh, you know. So
And did you write any beach kind of themed songs when you were living there, like since you've been back, or do you? I mean, I know you're not the Beach Boys, and I know that's not your shtick, but are you
well,
inspired by the influence of the water in your
oh
backyard?
yeah. I mean, the beach and the ocean shows up in a number of songs. Um, but there's one song that stands out. In the memo that you sent me about this interview, you said, think about a, moving or going to a new geographical place and how it affected you and maybe inspired a song. And what and I thought, okay, so I looked there, I had this big song list of all these songs I've recorded over the years. Like, God, which song? And then one song went, me, I'm the one. And it's 10 years ago, my good friends Elise and Terry invited me to Sayulita, Mexico, which is near Puerto Vallarta, to be Terry's daughter was getting married there, and so I said, "Well, let me think about it. Yeah, I'll be there." So we stayed there about a week, and we had a motel rooms right on the beach. And me being a beachaholic, I would go for walks every day, and the first day the song started coming to me in my head. I had my guitar, but I didn't take guitar on the walks. And every day the song got stronger and stronger, you know, and oh my God. And it was like I kept looking at the footprints I was leaving, and so the song was called Leaving Footprints in the Sand. And so that's the song I would choose to sing to
Could
you.
you play it for us right now?
I certainly can. If I can only find a guitar. Oh, here's one.
There's one on your shirt,
Yeah, I'll play this one.
except it's only a half.
This is the whole guitar. It's funny. I haven't sung this song in a long time, and my memory's getting cobwebby. Oh no! And so I practiced a lot, so I hope I don't screw it up. But I have to say that there's some imagery about hearts, beating hearts in this song, and this morning, one of my best friends that I've known, he's the same age, we were graduated from high school in 1967. A good friend, Dan Danner, is having open heart surgery this
Oh,
morning.
wow.
Maybe
Maybe this is for Dan, this
so.
song.
This is definitely for Dan. So it's called Leaving Footprints. The surf is breaking on the shore, ever breaking like a heart that goes pounding evermore, playing out its part. The moon is shining on the waves, and it's lighting up our eyes, the light everybody craves. Come, it sings to us then flies. We walk along the beach forever, hand in hand with a dream. In the sky overhead, the clouds like painted feathers. Seabirds call and we are led, leaving footprints in the sand. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The sand of blossoms in the trees conjure up the long ago, but the tantalizing breeze is the poetry that I know. The surf is breaking on the shore, ever breaking like a heart that goes pounding evermore, playing out its part. We walk along the beach forever, hand in hand with a dream. In the sky overhead, the clouds like painted feathers. Seabirds call and we are led, leaving footprints in the sand. Ooh, 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 leaving footprints in the sand.
Yay. Beautiful.
Oh,
Oh, your metaphors are so beautiful.
I mean, I've always loved, and I mean, I've always been a voracious reader, and my favorite lines in the books of my favorite books was double meanings in one sentence that can mean so many different things, and that's like, oh, so in my songwriting, that's one of my favorite aspects is to, you know, have the double entendres, but it just not, I try not to be over flowery in my imagery, but it's mainly emotional, and yeah, when I was practicing this song, and I kept screwing up these different, don't screw up, remember it goes like this, not there, and here's the lyric here and there, and but I kept thinking about Dan and open heart surgery, and it's just like, so that's the song is dedicated to Danny, I hope he gets through this.
Maybe you need to do a private one, like a recording of yourself on FaceTime and send it to the family for him.
Yeah.
Now that you've sang it once this morning, you can do it again,
Right.
package it up and send it. for sure. Thank
But
you for that.
I made a video of this several years ago, and so I think I'm going to post that on Facebook.
Oh, there you go.
I'll dedicate it to Danny, and it
There you go.
has some of my favorite images of the ocean and the beaches that I grew up with in Carlsbad and stuff.
So Jody, I recently made a move myself. As you know, I left Northern California after 28 years, actually 34 years, 28 in the same house and in Marin County, and moved to southern Portugal. And it's talk about a geographical change. It's good. I like the weather here. I'm sitting outside on the deck. They call it a veranda here. I'm on a veranda. And it's about 67 degrees Fahrenheit right now, and it's 5 o'clock at night. So that's pretty nice weather and sunny, and you can hear the birds come home every night to roost in the trees. And so I'm hearing a lot of bird activity in the background. And I know for me that one of the hard things for me was to let go of my studio. I had a studio, a place that I could create. I had every tool, paint, everything I needed. Like if I got asked to do a specific project or I got the inclination to do something, I could do it. I mean, I was set up. So I miss my working studio, but at the same time, right now, I'm doing the AI thing. So I can have it, my computer is my workspace.
Right.
But
Right.
I have done some hands-on things. I've refinished some furniture since I've been here, which was really rewarding. I bought an antique and sanded it down and waxed it and made it just beautiful. You would appreciate it as a
Yeah.
wood person. But I find that I'm now being inspired by, like you just wrote about footprints in the sand and the ocean. I was doing all plant imagery because I've worked with plants for
Right.
45 years. And I'm on this little beautiful estuary, the Ria Formosa, here in the Algarve region of Portugal. And it's this beautiful body of water, protected water. And now I'm getting images of fish and sea
Uh,
life, marine animals. So I'll show you, I'll insert it into this video, probably right here as I talk about it with you, because that's what wanted to come out. And it's kind of cool to just suddenly go, okay, so you're not plants, you're something different, but you're alive and you're beautiful and you're of this place for me at this juncture in my life. So I just find it very interesting how making a move is it's like a reset on a modem almost for an artist. You get new inspiration, new ideas.
right.
How have you changed? I came to see you in Encinitas when you first moved there. We came and saw your place. How has your uh, music evolved since? Has it been 5 years?
It's been 3.5 years.
Okay, okay,
It seems like a lot longer. I mean, and time seems to be going faster and faster.
I
But
agree.
in a similar way to you, I mean, I was also a carpenter for most of my adult life, and so I used my carpentry in my creative process. So I would make my own props for my video shoots. And during the pandemic, I did selfie video shoots. I would just put my phone on a tripod. I made my different backgrounds, because I couldn't go anywhere. There was no vaccine. Everybody was
Mhm.
dying. It was so dangerous. So I said, I got to do something creative. So I did selfie videos at home, sent them to a friend who could edit them, and we made videos without ever seeing each other. And so when I moved down here, I every once in a while I miss my carpentry tools, and I'll show you. I'll show everybody. that little greenhouse was given to me by my landlord, and because he wasn't using it, so I made some shelves and I put all my power tools there, and so that's my workshop. And so I do woodworking projects. I make things like that and this little little table. Here's my Christmas tree.
Oh, you got a Christmas tree. Nice.
And that ship's wheel, it was from a friend's fishing boat that I helped fix, and we changed the wheel, so I kept that and made that stand. So it's like, and I find that doing woodworking projects help my creativeness, and also like these the palm trees and those triangle things, you know. I use all my props and I put them up in my room. And the other thing, like this, the map of Italy, you know, my dad's family came from Italy, my mom's family came from Utah, and they traveled across to Utah on covered wagons. So I have all this memorial stuff, or, you know, imagery. I'm very visual, so I put up all these things to keep reminding me of what I'm doing and what I can do, you know, so.
Yeah, and I liked how when I was moving, I gave you a cool wood chopper that I bought from a artist. It was beautiful. And you used it as a prop in a music video, which I thought was fantastic.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's got its own little place there.
Yeah.
The Ukrainian axe, I mean, I just love
Yeah.
that, you know.
It's so cool. I have no use for it now. It went to the right person for sure. So I do a similar thing to what you talked about with the woodworking. I find that I've been collecting a few plants here and there to warm up the space. We came here without a lot of furniture. We've had to buy things as we go along, and it's kind of getting
Right.
set up, right? And our furniture hasn't shipped yet from California. It's connected to the visa, so long story I don't want to
Right.
publicize, but it's still in California. It will be coming shortly. But I find that on the veranda, the other veranda, I have brought some plants out. And as I putz and play with the plants, it inspires other ideas for me and visual art ideas and things that I can do here now that I'm in a new community. Like, I want to really help protect this body of water. It's really special. And possibly like work with children in this local school to see if I can teach them about being green. Like, the greener we are, the bluer the Ria Formosa stays.
Yeah, oh, I like
And
that. That's
there's
great.
no, yeah, this is important because I'm noticing in the stores, I left California, it's so eco and I'm very green and environmental. A lot of that doesn't exist here. There's a lot of single-use plastic, which is really hard for me. And there's the dishwashing soaps are all toxic, and it's going right into the ocean, the
Right.
beautiful Atlantic Ocean. And the people here eat so much fish, and it's an industry. They just need like a paradigm shift. So I sort of am feeling called to take what I know and maybe do some visual art and some education locally. Do you, do you have causes in your songwriting that inspire you to act, or I know you have messaging going on, and I know some of it's political, some of it's different, but like, does this kind of thing happen to you, or you feel moved to
One of the things that
do
I've, I mean, you know, it's not like I haven't been down here in San Diego, because even when I lived up north in the Bay Area for 50 years, I would come down here 2 or 3 times a year to see family and friends, you know. And
something?
but since I moved down here, I really noticed all the new outrageous construction everywhere. They're tearing down these wonderful old homes that I grew up seeing. Well, no, Danny and Mikey lived in that house. They tear them down and they build these monstrosities, vacation rental places, and but it's not just a little, they're big. It's changing the landscape in Encinitas and Oceanside and Carlsbad and Leucadia, everywhere I drive, I see it. I like it. And it's funny, I'm in touch with these brothers, the Langan brothers, and I was in a band with them. The first band I was ever in was with two of them when we were 14 years old. That was 60 years ago. And we played one of our first gigs. We played at the opening of the small downtown Carlsbad shopping center, and so we have a picture of us, 14-year-olds, with our guitars, and now they want to tear down that shopping center and put some monstrosity buildings there because it's right next to the freeway. And people from, some friends of mine went to these meetings and protested and but big money always wins. I almost said the F word because I hate it so much. But big money usually wins, and whether there's bribery and I'm sure there's payoffs and stuff. But so they're going to start tearing these, shops down. There's a French bakery that I've been to, and a hardware store that I go to, and I talk to them and said, I know they're going to tear all this down. I mean, Carlsbad needs these stores. We don't need another monstrosity building, And so we're toying with, because I'm in touch with these brothers and we still play music together a little bit, is just before they tear it down, go and play at the same spot that we played 60 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, that was like Paul McCartney at Candlestick for his final US concert at the time was Candlestick, or the final concert
Right.
at Candlestick Park.
Yeah.
We were there. Wow. So that's a great idea. And like put some publicity, get some local news and
just say, how many more? I mean, most of the new architecture is so ugly. I mean, I love, I grew, in San Francisco, I loved working on the old Victorian buildings, and a lot of the carpenters hated it because the floors were slanted, everything was, old, and but I loved it because, I loved the
soulful
craftsmanship, and also I would find old especially in some of the old pocket doors. I'd pull them out and I'd get a flashlight and I'd find old mail. I found a 1935 newspaper, I found a coin from 1909 or something, a quarter or something, 50-cent piece. So I'd always look for treasures like that. But now they're tearing down these wonderful old houses that so when I go to Carlsbad, my hometown, I drive down the street that have the most old houses there. And then I go down my street and it's just, at the end of the street, I live on a 1-block street called Wilson Street. At one end of it was acres and acres of avocado orchards. We had 20 avocado trees in our yard alone. At the other end was strawberry and tomato fields. And then over the years, all that was erased, and now it's all housing, and it just keeps getting worse. So that's one of my biggest things, is like, stop it, and then they even call it Carlsbad Village. They changed the main road to Carlsbad Village Road, and they call it a village, and that they're destroying the village atmosphere by overbuilding. It's just blah. So that's one of my strongest things. But there's a lot of other. I mean, the pollution factor and stuff, and and I hate plastic. I'm trying to figure out how can I live with less plastic, and I buy all organic food, and yet there's so much toxicity everywhere, and so many of my friends, well, the aging process, but you just wonder where all these cancerous problems are coming from, but it's the world we live in.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons we also moved to Europe is for my immune system. I've had a history. I'm not going to go into it on YouTube, but I've had some autoimmune issues, and so eating clean food has always, like you, been a priority for the last. Well, I've eaten kind of clean food for years, but really, we don't know what's in the food in the U.S. It's genetically modified. It's got, coloring, food coloring, things that are outlawed here in Europe. I have noticed that eating here, like we can eat the bread here and it's not the same. It's not the same wheat. So it doesn't give like gluten reactions or anything. So that's what a move has done for me. It's made me I feel like my system is healthier here. Um, the thing about where I live here in the south of Portugal, the water is not, they have a drought like in Northern California. It's very similar in a lot of ways. But the water here is softened and I don't want to drink it. I don't want to drink that softened tap water. It's
Right.
got a weird taste. So I'm in the process of shopping. We had a reverse osmosis filter on our house, but I'm renting for 2 years, so I can't drill into the counter here and
Right.
put a system in, but we're trying to figure that out. And so that's the one challenge about here is the water, trying to get good water and not drink a ton of bottled water. They do have good recycling programs here that I'm grateful for. And just while we're on this, I'll tell you, the garbage is out in public spaces and it's these cans that are upright and they're labeled what you can put in them. The recycling, the metal and plastic, the paper, and there's organic waste. And you don't have to pay for garbage individually. The trucks come
Wow.
and they have this cool lever thing that raises it up, dumps everything out of these recycling bins. I don't know how they're getting to the underground garbage, but it's like where I lived in the country in Northern California, if a neighbor saw that someone else used their recycling bin, they'd ask you, "Hey, did you put something in my bin?"
Right.
No, because you're paying for it, right?
Right.
Here, it's a community service and
Wow.
people actually use it and it's really convenient and you can be anywhere and hit any garbage bin anywhere and you're not going to get yelled at. And you don't have to pay for garbage. It's pretty
Wow.
cool. I mean, but the taxes are covering it and stuff. But also the roads here are amazing. The roads and the infrastructure for the most part, and it's very clean, not a lot of garbage.
Wow.
So that I am really appreciative of because I know in the Bay Area, is Southern California got a trash problem on the roads and or is it not as bad as the Bay Area? Is Southern California have a garbage problem?
I don't really think so. I mean, we pay for it, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's broken up to, and there's a organic waste, which I use these biodegradable bags, and all my what I do is I put them in the freezer just so it doesn't smell,
Oh
because
yeah, it's a good idea.
so I have these 2 or 3 small bags of frozen organic waste, and then on trash day, put them in the green bins, and then there's a recycling bin, and then general garbage, so there's 3 different things, so.
Yeah, yeah. It's really interesting how things, municipal things like that work. And anyway, we can get off the trash. I guess we've gone gone down a rabbit hole. You grew up with avocado trees. So where I live right now is orchard country. There's lots of avocados. There's orange groves like you wouldn't believe. Lemon and lime, papaya,
Wow.
mango, and it's literally 5 minutes down the road. There are salt marshes on either direction with levees between the ponds and migratory birds, and even pink flamingos are here.
Wow.
They come at this time in the I'm getting a message. I hope it doesn't show up in my recording here. Anyway, it's just beautiful. And the I lost my train of thought. Flamingos, birds. It's just very inspiring. It's a new chapter, and I'm looking forward to all the different influences. The food is very nice, you know, eating fish. Do you like fish?
I've turned into a fishitarian. I mean, and it was just my body. I didn't decide. My body just said, you know, I pretty much stopped eating beef and pork a long time ago. But mainly I ate poultry and fish. And then after my little dog died a couple of years ago, I had this Yorkie for 15 years, Dundee. Um, I don't know if there was a connection there, but it's just like my body said, stop eating poultry, you know, you know, and so I mainly eat you know, wild caught Alaskan salmon, either canned or frozen, you know, but I eat quinoa, brown rice, and, you know, other ways of getting protein and eggs and stuff, you know, but
Good.
you know, I eat pretty healthy. And I recently, about a month and a half ago, I had some hernia surgery. And before I went in, I had a pre-op consultation, and they asked me, you know, how do you eat healthy? Do you get much exercise? And I told them that I do a Zoom workout twice a week, and then I also go on these long hikes where I do these climbs. And I told them that when I lived in Marin County, I used to climb the steepest hills. I always loved that, and just keep my legs strong. And then now I'm down here, since I can't really run. I used to run, now I can't run anymore, and it's too hard, jarring on the body. So I go to two different places where I can do this. There's one beach where I walk down the beach, and then there's 150 steps up to the top. So I go there, and another place called Torrey Pines, which is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It's I park by the beach, walk a mile down the beach, and then there's a trail and climb that goes up 450 feet up to the very top. So I get this big workout and so I told my doc, I just said, hey, he goes, that's really good news. 'Cause have you heard about the blue zone? I said, oh yes, that's where, you know, where they do studies where people have the, you know, longevity, you know, where, and he said all the places where people live the longest are hilly areas, and they're climbing hills. So I said, yay, I'm doing something right. You know,
Yeah, we're climbing a lot of steps here in this condo. You know, we had steps going up to our house in Marin.
right. Yeah,
This is more almost. There's more. I go down and then back up to get to the beach. And, you know, even though I'm not a big fan, it is good for us.
it is very good for you. Yeah.
So, you know, I'm going to continue to choose the stairs whenever possible.
But,
So,
but the thing is, I mean, so many of my friends of you know, my age, I mean, I'm mid 70s, you know, and it's like, which I can't believe I got here so fast, but so many people are falling and breaking hips and things. So I always use handrails. I'm always super, especially going downstairs is a lot trickier than going up, you know, so when I go downstairs or, you know, or whatever, I'm always be careful. Don't trip and fall and break something, because it takes forever to heal when you get this old, you know, so.
yeah, it's weird to have to think like that when you before it was like you would never think like that,
Yeah. Oh.
right? You didn't even have to even go there. Do you think we can eke out one more song from you? You mentioned avocados. You have that wonderful avocado song. Do you feel
I'll,
like
I'll,
playing that?
I'll just play a short version of it.
Okay. And then
I,
after that, we'll wrap up. But
okay.
this has been a great conversation about moving and change and inspiration and growth and finding balance. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thanks.
So this song, I called it Avocado Jungle. Um, and I wrote it a long time ago, and for some reason I thought, write it in Spanish. And I don't, I mean, I can speak a little Spanish, but I'm not really good. And so I was rhyming and like, what rhymes with that, you know, avocado? And then I thought, okay, let's make it Spanglish. So I kind of made up some words and stuff. So it made it kind of fun. So I made a video of it with using old home movies from our house when we had all these avocado trees and stuff, you know, so.
And I'll put your social media links and how people can find you below the video when it posts.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, basically, it's just Jody Calcara YouTube, and I put all of my videos on there, so you can see every one that I've made, including this one. So. Qué bonitos los avocados del rancho de mi padre y los bocados y los bocados en la cocina de mi madre. Hermosillo jacaranda con las flores de índigo y la buena vista comanda el mar y el ocaso. It's funny, one of the first time I sang that song, this Latino friend came up to me and said, Jody, you've got to change one of the words. I tried to say kitchen, and instead of cocina, I think I said cochina. And he goes, you're calling your mother a hag. I said, what? Cochina means hag, and cocina means kitchen. I said, oh my God, thank you. And the last thing I want to do is call my mother hag. I was blessed with one of the best mothers you can ever want, you know. So, and it's funny, back to the ocean, I was thinking about what's my earliest memory, and it was being a toddler. I mean, maybe 2 years old or something. And we were at the beach, and I was standing at the edge of the surf going, and a wave came and knocked me over and rolled me in the water. And my mom ran over and picked me up and hugged me and saved me. And I realized that is my earliest memory, my mother saving me from.
That's a great memory.
Yeah, it really is. And I was like, oh my God, you know. So
That's a lifelonger. I mean, you could just go back to that memory whenever you need it. That's a really good one.
and
Wonderful.
another song that I'm still working on now, that I'm recording, and I'm probably gonna make a video. And there's one scene about the vast blue horizon line of the ocean is my earliest memory. And I went, oh my God, that's rings so true, because I could just see myself as that little tiny kid being at the beach parties. You know, we had bonfire, and I'd be staring at the horizon line of the ocean, you know. I mean, it's just like, I'm so grateful that I got to grow up in the land of avocados and the ocean and beaches, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And I finally got here. It took me my whole life from Michigan to Maryland to Washington, D.C., to Hawaii, to California, to Portugal.
Welcome home.
Thank you. I like it. I like it. It's an interesting time. So let's regroup in 6 or 8 months and do this again and talk a different topic, but carry on and see where our art takes us on this next phase. We're coming into the holidays, and I know for me this year, especially because we're just arrived here 6 weeks ago, so we're not going back to the States. We're going to be here very low key, and but I'm sure that you'll be with your family and get inspired by, you know, seeing your grandkids and your son and everybody.
And one thing I have to say about one of my favorite movies is Casablanca, you know, Humphrey Bogart.
Mm.
And in that movie, everybody that is trying to get away from the Nazis by going to Portugal, and that's to get to Lisbon, and then they could fly back to America, you know. And that was and you've kind of gone the complete opposite way from America
Yes.
to Portugal, you know. And
Yes, and actually, you're going to hear shortly that we're going to be going to Morocco, which
I
is
know,
very, very
yeah.
interesting. So, yeah, so
You got to watch the movie before you go.
I
And see
think
if you can
so.
find Rick's place. You know?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I think that that will really inspire me. I've wanted to go for a long, long time. And all the Islamic art and
Oh,
and
yeah.
all that, so beautiful.
I wonder if they must have something there commemorating that movie. I mean, that movie put that town, you know, Casablanca and Morocco on the map, you know, for so
I'm
many.
sure there's something there. I'll let you know if it's true. I'm getting so many text bombs on this video that I don't we might have to cover it up. So I'm gonna sign off
All righty.
and tell you that this was great. It was great to see you, and
You too.
please give a thumbs up to the video, a like, share with your friends. We'll get this posted in the next week or so. And keep making music, Jody.
Well, I can't stop.
Good. And I'm hoping to put together in the next like 3 months a dance party like I did in Marin and get
Uh,
people moving in the marine life images and get them in their images here. It's so beautiful with the fish. So, all right. Great to see you.
Great to see
And
you.
everybody, Jody's music always takes us in and out of these videos. So enjoy and thank you again for your time. And I'll look forward to seeing what you're up to soon.